and welcome back to Hoboken Terminal. This is one of the most iconic stations in New Jersey, and today we'll be riding NJ Transit's odd once-a-day shuttle from here to New Bridge Landing Station. First of all, when you enter Hoboken Terminal, you're first greeted by its 40th anniversary banner, and immediately after, you're inside Hoboken's gorgeous waiting hall with just about everything you need when you're looking for your train. You can view the local train departures on one of these display screens, and as you might be able to guess, today's train is number 1653, a Pascack Valley Line local train to New Bridge Landing. Hoboken Terminal is one of the last rail and ferry terminals in America, which is why it has departure boards for the local NY waterway ferries that take you to Midtown Manhattan across the Hudson River. It also has this tiny and very cute model railway layout called Railman for Children. Walking under this small corridor, you'll find yourself at the very large New York Waterway Ferry Terminal, which also has train departure screens for people coming from Midtown Manhattan looking to board a train here. Very practical. Ferry passengers are also met with a gorgeous view of the waiting hall, might I add. We're taking one last look at our train departure. Train 1653 will be boarding on track 2, on the east end of the terminal. There's also these big departure screens, which in my opinion are the most useful because they tell you how to get to a specific stop using the available transfers with different lines. With the round-trip tickets purchased at the ticket booth for the price of $13, it's now time to meet our train, but before I did that I just had to pick up a brochure for today's train line, which mainly shows the line's revenue schedules. There's something like this for every line on NJT. Here we are at track 2, and we're met with a very special cab car, number 6012, which is one of the last pieces of rolling stock on NJ Transit to have a Nathan K5 LLA air horn. If you're wondering, where is track 1? It's right over here. I don't know why they do this, but it's apparently for the shorter express trains. They put track 1 right here, I guess, to make room for the exit to the bus terminal, which is really smart, but it can also be an annoyance for some longer trains. On track 1 we have Port Jervis Express Train 99 making all express stops via the main line on its way to Port Jervis. Looking at our leading locomotive for today, Bombardier L45 DP 4516, we can see a local train to Suffern pulling out of our adjacent track, with GP40 PH-2B number 4217 in the lead. Also next to track 1, we can find the entrance to the Underground Path Transfer Station, which takes passengers to Midtown Manhattan, World Trade Center, and Newark Penn Station. Hoboken Terminal also has a lot of options when it comes to spare time, but it's looking like most of these stores are closed for an odd reason on this beautiful Friday. The only thing that's currently open is the news store with a lot of snacks for your ride, which tend to be a teeny bit overpriced, so just a heads up. I've had some time to spare, so I went to go look at some of the other tracks, and it looks like on tracks 8 and 9, they're doing some track work with some maintenance of way vehicles. With a few minutes till boarding, we'll take one last look at our train, which doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. Just 4 Comet V cars, typical for any train out of Hoboken. With the doors open and having boarded the train at the very back, we're met with more 3x2 seating, as typically seen on these cars, with an extra horizontal row near the restroom for accessible seating. These 3x2 seats are also easily reversible so you can chat with your friends or family. Today's route takes us from Hoboken Terminal to River Edge, New Jersey. We'll be stopping at Secaucus first, then branch off the Bergen County line and make our way towards Woodridge, then make another stop at Teterboro and Hasbrook Heights, then make 2 stops in Hackensack at Anderson and Essex Streets, and end our journey at New Bridge Landing at River Edge. Total travel time is 38 minutes and the total journey length is about 15 miles. Seating on the Comet Vs are pretty basic but comfy nevertheless, and don't provide much room to stretch your legs out for relaxation. I'm gonna guess about 2 or 3 inches of space between your legs. The Comets also have these armrests, which are really just gray slabs of plastic-like fabric that aren't very comfy. Unfortunately, we departed Hoboken about 6 minutes behind schedule. The bathroom on this train is the only one available from my knowledge, and it is very clean. Everything is well stocked, the toilet's perfectly shiny, everything works well, and it's right next to the accessible seating as well, and plus it has more than enough space for a disabled person. I chose to be in the back of this train for this very reason. I love watching everything go from behind me, despite the window being small. The rear view is awesome! NJ Transit often doesn't like to clean their windows, so it's safe to say that seeing anything on this journey will be kinda difficult, being that the other side is much clearer. Picking up a bit of speed as we enter Secaucus, we hear the announcements, which might I add are the clearest I've ever heard. Being that the multi-levels also have the announcements, but they sound more muffled most of the time. Secaucus Junction is the place to change to any NJ Transit line, with the obvious exceptions like the Atlantic City line and sometimes the Raritan Valley line. It also has connections to many different bus routes. Now for our train statistics. Our train is PVL train number 1653 and is being pulled by Bombardier L45 DP number 4516. It has 2 Caterpillars 3512 CHD V12 diesel engines, putting out 2,736 horsepower in its diesel configuration. The locomotive has a top speed of 100 miles an hour in diesel mode and 110 miles an hour in electric mode. The cab car surprisingly is geared for speeds of up to 120 miles per hour, but cannot go faster than 110 due to none of the locomotives having a top speed higher than that. Our journey is from Hoboken to New Bridge Landing in River Edge, New Jersey, which is only 6 stops and a distance of 15 miles. Travel time from Hoboken to Spring Valley is around an hour and 15 minutes, while our journey only takes 38 minutes. Now at 60 miles per hour, the New Jersey Meadowlands fly right past us at speed. We also cross over the Hackensack River, which is a river that connects many major cities in New Jersey, such as Ramapo, Whippany, and Passaic. It's a separate river from the Hudson as it branches off at New City, New York, and flows into Jersey City, ending at Newark Bay. Here's the point where we branch off the Bergen and Main lines to the single-tracked Pascack Valley line. Now, why did I take this specific train? Why 1653? Well, to sum it up, a couple friends of mine helped me conduct extensive research on trains similar to this, and while they are similar, they aren't. See, 1653 is the only true once-a-day train on New Jersey Transit because it operates out of Hoboken, stops and terminates halfway down the line, and heads back to Hoboken as a non-service Deadhead running express. I really have no idea why they do this whatsoever, but I'm gonna boldly assume that it's a filler service so that more ridership can be obtained, because the train is kinda busy right now with like 30 or so people riding it. The only similar trains to this go back to Hoboken as revenue trains and not deadheads, unlike this one. I guess this makes it the rarest service on NJ Transit. Right now, we're running alongside New Jersey Route 17. Route 17 was constructed in 1942, and as a result of this, in 1967 when it was reconstructed, Woodridge's few neighboring stations had to be demolished, Carlstadt and Hasbrook Heights. But besides this, the scenery is surprisingly neat, despite it being just the towns of Woodridge and Hasbrook Heights between a railroad track and a highway. After stopping at Woodridge, we stop at Teterboro, which has kind of a mystery to it. See, the actual Teterboro station is in Hasbrook Heights, but the actual town of Teterboro is next to it, with a population of just 63 people as of 2023. It's mainly an airport town. Teterboro is the least used station on this line, and it gets just over 100 riders daily. I mean, no wonder. It's literally in the middle of and under both a freeway and a highway, plus the platform is incredibly narrow. Our first stop in Hackensack is Essex Street, which used to be the main terminal for Hackensack back in the 20th century. Anderson Street was just another sister station, and it kinda still is, except Anderson Street is more of a hotspot now. As of 2019, the station sees roughly 355 daily riders. The cool thing about Hackensack is that we run directly through its streets, and before you call the street running, I'm just going to tell you that the roads are separated from the tracks because there's, I think, a small barrier separating the roads from the tracks. This only continues until Anderson Street Station though. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to maybe subscribe to this channel and leave a comment stating your opinions. Thanks so much in advance, as it really helps support me. On our way to New Bridge Landing, we passed the former Fairmount Avenue stop, now an ice cream shop called Cranberry Junction. It was a former local station on this line that closed in 1983, a little bit prior to the formation of NJ Transit in 1984.
This station stop is New Bridge Landing. New Jersey Transit asks all customers to be alert and aware of their surroundings. Please report any suspicious behavior or passages to the New Jersey Transit Police at 1-888-TIPS-NJT. Please check the overhead luggage rack and surrounding areas for all of your personal belongings.
In a time of about 39 minutes, we arrived smoother than a bar of soap at our final destination. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Bridge Landing at River Edge, for some reason, end of the line for today. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this train goes back as a Deadhead, which is basically a not-in-service express train making no stops whatsoever back to its starting point, and in this case, this train is a Deadhead going back to Hoboken Terminal. I still don't know why they do this, it's really weird. Service on this single-track line is pretty good, with weekday trains running twice an hour off-peak, but during the morning rush hour it's only inbound trains to Hoboken, and for the afternoon rush hour, it's all outbound trains to Spring Valley, which explains why there's no Hoboken locals between 4:30 and 10 p.m. on weekdays. On weekends, however, it's entirely hourly service since it's entirely off-peak hours. The waiting shelters in New Bridge Landing are small, very small. Some of them have standing room only, while the others have a bench and a ticket vending machine. So now it's time for a station tour and some history. There's not really much to speak of here. It's really just a short platform that can fit a maximum of 3 train cars, which is pretty small. The New Bridge Landing Station also kindly displays the town it's located in, so people don't get confused about where they are. The station had 2 other names during its life. It was first called Cherry Hill Station between 1870 and 1895, and then they renamed it to North Hackensack from then until 2009, when the New Bridge Landing name was implemented. Named after the tide mill where George Washington and Thomas Paine crossed the narrows of the Hackensack River in their retreat after the loss of the Fort Washington during the New York and New Jersey campaign in 1776. Today, the New Bridge Landing Station sees about 536 daily riders and is one of the 2 stations in River Edge Township. Right now, 1653's Deadhead is getting ready to head back to Hoboken, making no stops. It'll blast its special K5 LLA air horn, one of 2 left on NJ Transit, with the other belonging to NJ Transit 4502, the Special Armed Forces Unit. Now for a bit more history. The new Bridge Landing stop first opened in 1870 as Cherry Hill as part of the northern extension of the New Jersey-New York Railroad from Hackensack's original station at Essex Street. The station depot was demolished in 1978 and replaced by the current shelters. If you guys look closely, you could see the remnants of the former double-tracked main line and also some remains of the other platform. Part of this line was actually triple-tracked, and that third track mainly acted as a siding for the few freight trains that went on this line. Due to increased ridership from bidirectional operation, an additional 143 parking spaces were added to a permit-only parking lot on August 13th of 2008, bringing the total number of parking spots to 291. But as you could probably tell, there's no many high-level platforms anywhere at the station, so it's indeed not accessible. It's mostly just this, some tiny shelters, and a huge parking lot if I really had to stumble at the station. Oh, and there's a railroad crossing at the station, so it's relatively easy to leave the station if you're a local. Just putting that out there. Now that our trip is finally complete, it's now time to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more videos like this or other videos that I have planned, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For now, I'll see you all soon, and thanks very much for watching.